Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great delight to be back with you again after so long a respite. To remind you, these blogs come from Share Fertility Solutions, and if any of you are interested in having a Skype consultation or a FaceTime consultation online with me regarding your problems, all you need to do is contact my associate or my assistant, Patty Converse, at 702-533-2691, 702-533-2691, or 1-800-780-7437, and she can set you up. Alternatively, you can go to my website, sureivf.com, fill in the invitation on the home page to participate in a Skype consultation with me, and click and send it off to Patty. She'll get back in touch with you. Be sure to put down your cell phone number or your personal contact number as well, and she will be able to then reach you by phone after she receives the completed form that you fill in and submit. You can also email Patty at concierge, CONCIERGE, at SHERIVF, SHERIVF.com, and she will set you up with a consultation with me. Give her your phone number, she'll call you back and get it going. I really look forward to speaking with you. I've had the great joy of consulting with many women since we formed Share IVF Solutions early in the year, and I've had the first pleasure of actually doing IVF on many of these women at my new location at LA IVF in Century City, Los Angeles, where I do IVF every 3 months in batches. And we can easily get patients to fall into those batches by regulating their menstrual cycles through treatment with birth control pill, and shortening or lengthening the cycles on the birth control pill so as to make everyone have their period at the same time. Not only is this convenient, but it's also very good for many of my patients because it gives the ovaries a breather and allows us to come back and stimulate you better, and the birth control pill will not suppress you if we prepare you properly for the cycles. Today I'm going to talk to you about a very interesting topic that affects many of you, and that is the lack of responsiveness of the uterus to implantation in women that have had prolonged estrogen deprivation. Now, estrogen deprivation occurs because the woman goes into a menopause and is not having her periods. The ovaries are no longer producing estrogen, and she's not having her periods for at least 6 months. When this happens, then the lining of the uterus loses its receptor responsiveness to estrogen and will not thicken in response to estrogen, so the endometrium is thin and cannot support an implanting pregnancy adequately. It also occurs when the uterus, in absence of estrogen present, shrinks. It goes from the size of a pear to the size of a small plum after a period of 6 months of estrogen deprivation. Such a small uterus cannot not accommodate the growing embryo and the developing fetus, and as a consequence, the embryo is expelled or the fetus is expelled. The bigger of the two problems is, needless to say, the thin, non-responsive endometrium, which will be less than 8 millimeters in thickness after estrogen therapy. And so it is that when there's this menopause, which can occur because of the normal physiological menopause that occurs usually after the age of 40, but of course can occur in younger women who run out of eggs as well. But it also occurs in cases where disease, radiation, chemotherapy has destroyed the ovarian potential to produce estrogen, creating an induced menopause. It also occurs after diseases such as endometriosis or cancer have destroyed the ovarian function. We also see, typical of these women who are in menopause because of ovaries no longer being able to produce eggs, is the fact that when you measure their blood, FSH and LH levels, these levels are through the roof, they're so high. And that is because in the absence of egg production and estrogen production by the ovary, the pituitary, like the proverbial mule driver, cracks the whip harder to try to get the ovary to produce more eggs, but of course it can't. And as a result, the FSH, which is the whip cracking sound, goes up and the estrogen stays low because there's no production of estrogen. We also see estrogen deprivation in women with normally functioning or potentially normally functioning ovaries, where there's still plenty of eggs. This occurs in women who have got what we call hypothalamic amenorrhea. The hypothalamus in the brain and the pituitary stop for some reason signaling the ovaries to produce estrogen and to help follicles and eggs develop. When this happens, the ovary has low estrogen production, blood levels of estrogen are on the floor, but there is a low FSH and LH in the blood. This is the way we differentiate between hypothalamic amenorrhea and hypoestrogenism and postmenopausal hypoestrogenism. Either way, the effect is the same. Deprivation of estrogen causes the uterus to shrink down to a very small size and causes the lining to become unresponsive to estrogen, even if you administer it to try to make the uterus form a lining and the uterus to grow in size in order to accommodate embryos being transferred following egg donation, which is commonly done in women who are postmenopausal, or embryo donation or frozen embryo transfers. So there's something that's got to be done to help such women, to help their uteruses become accommodating to the embryo, and to help a pregnancy implant and instate itself. What you have to do is put the woman on cyclical estrogen progesterone therapy for 2 or 3 cycles, and in that time of giving estrogen for the first orally or by injection for the first 25 days, and then adding progesterone from the 15th to the 25th day. If you do that repeatedly, cyclically, the woman will start menstruating after that cycle, and then you do it again and again, and over those 2 or 3 months, the uterus will develop a good lining. It'll reinstate its ability to form, to have its receptors respond to estrogen, and it'll grow. And now the endometrium will be able to allow implantation to occur, and you will not lose pregnancies through early miscarriages, as so often is the case. I want to point out that we often see women who come to us for egg donation, or women that come to us for embryo transfer who've got hypothalamic amenorrhea. We often see such women failing to get pregnant in the first and second attempt, not due to the embryos being no good, but because the uterus cannot accommodate those embryos. So in my opinion, any woman who's had longer than 6 months of amenorrhea should be examined and investigated for uterine size and endometrial thickness in response to estrogen, and then be treated for 3 months on estrogen progesterone cyclically to reinvigorate their uteruses, and only then start doing the process of transfer. It's interesting that women who don't do that often come for their first attempt at an egg donation and they fail. They come back the second time, again with hormone, estrogen, progesterone hormone replacement to prepare the uterus to receive the embryo, and they fail or miscarry. But the third time they do the same thing, they then get pregnant and have a baby. I think it's possible to avoid those first 2 misfires, those failed cycles, by simply being responsible and putting the woman on estrogen progesterone therapy for 2 or 3 months before doing the embryo transfers. This is an important little adjunct, and I'd really encourage you to think about it if you fall into this category. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year, and that 2020 turns out to be healthy, reproductive, and to be a happy one for you and yours. God bless.